We welcome you to historic Dahlonega, Georgia, where for the first time since 2019, your UNG women's soccer team are going to be taking on Limestone University in this late regular season matchup. I'll welcome you up to the broadcast booth. Devin Kupka here, and I'll be alongside for the whole broadcast with everybody. North Georgia, as I mentioned, playing Limestone for the first time since 2019. Now, this is a little bit of a bridge gap between their next opponent and Columbus State University, who they'll be taking on this Sunday at 4 p.m. North Georgia coming off a win against GCSU on Saturday, getting the win there. And still tied for first place in the Peach Belt Conference with Columbus State University. Let's take you through the starting lineups here. Start off with Limestone. Number 0, Samantha Aguilar-Hopkins. Number 4, Neve Warrender. Number 6, Anae Malbetty. Number 9, Ellie Mills. Number 10, Freya Jones. Number 11, Tuva Hodney. Number 17, Emily Bozard. Number 19, Servain Bluen. Number 22, Samantha Novick. Number 23, Lucy Bertrand. And number 33, Emily Torres. And that is the starting lineup for the Saints. This kickoff is underway here at North Georgia. All-time North Georgia is 5-0-1 against Limestone. And let's go through North Georgia's starting lineup. Number 0, Sierra Fowler. Number 2, Alex Clark. Number 3, Adley Wheeler. Number 5, Elise Buracy. Number 7, Nikki Gomez. Number 8, Katie Durkay. Number 10, Maysoon El-Shami. Number 15, Bailey Vessel. Number 17, Kate Garth. Number 18, Kat Watry. And rounding out the starting lineup, number 20, Ariel Arnoff. Whistle's going to be called. Limestone coming into this game has an overall record of 3-8-1. And they are in the SAC conference with a 2-6-1 record. Maysoon El-Shami in there for North Georgia. Now over near Ariel Arnoff for Katie Durkay. Gets the takeaway from North Georgia. El-Shami marching downfield, and it's going to get intercepted by Tuva Hodney. And Adley Wheeler right over there, passing it over to Elise Buracy. This one, ball heading over to near field. Ariel Arnoff. Let's pass this one over to Durkay. And Limestone on a counterattack. Now down over to Emily Torres' area where the whistle is going to be called. It's like there was an offsides on Torres. Limestone trying to make something happen early in this one. Limestone looking for their first goal. Limestone hasn't scored a goal in their last 2 games. Looking for their first goal since October 14th. And they faced off against Corker at home, where they won 2-1. In that game, they had a goal very early on at the 3-minute mark. Tuva Hodney scored the first goal for the Saints. And then at the 30-minute mark, Lucy Bertrand got the second goal for them, and then they would end up winning 2-1 over Corker. That game was about 2 weeks ago. And then their next game, they faced off against number 2 Catawba at home. They lost 4-0. And then they were traveled to Lincoln Memorial this past weekend, where no goals were scored in that one and ended up in a tie. Now North Georgia on a counterattack, trying to make something happen. Now over to Maysoon El Shami, where it's going to be picked up right away. As soon as the ball got right inside the box, it was picked up by a couple of Saints players. Samantha Aguilar Hopkins is going to be in the goalkeeping position for Limestone. Hopkins currently is 5th in saves in the SAC conference with 51 saves on the season. And that one going to try and get headed in. And it's going to go in! Ariel Arnoff puts up North Georgia's first goal of the day as they go up 1-0 over Limestone with 37.5 minutes to go in the first half. North Georgia getting their goal early here. Ariel Arnoff. That was Arnoff's 6th goal of the season, and that'll put her out front as North Georgia's leading goal scorer on the season with 6 on the season. Going to be a throw-in for Limestone. Ball bouncing around the box, but it's going to be kicked in the air by a couple of Nighthawks, where Katie Durkay at midfield for North Georgia trying to capitalize on their 1-0 lead, passing it to the far side of the field, where Nikki Gomez is going to get that one in the box, but it's going to be immediately met by Emily Bozard. Malbetty kicking that one out of bounds. Ball over in the far right corner on the near side of the field. It's going to be a throw-in for Limestone. Lucy Bertrand, the one to throw it in for the Saints. Ball rolls out of bounds again. Bertrand going to throw this one back in for Limestone. Throw in inside the box. And it's going to be a great save by Sierra Fowler. It almost was a one-on-one situation inside the box. Almost similar to how Ariel Arnoff's goal Sierra Fowler going to kick this one deep, right over to the midfield area. Adley Wheeler over there for North Georgia. Now over to El Shami. Where Limestone was attempting to build a counterattack, is going to land out of bounds. It's going to be thrown in, where it's immediately met by the Saints' Bozard. Nikki Gomez over there for North Georgia. Another throw in for Limestone. Goes over to the direction of Ellie Mills. Now a North Georgia throw in. Over into Durkay's area. Ball overthrown a little bit. Ball bouncing up in the air. Now back over to Kate Garth. Now Adley Wheeler making some moves at midfield. Going to kick this one deep over to Ariel Arnoff. And it's going to be picked up by Hopkins right inside the box before Arnoff could get there. Bozard kicking this one past midfield. Looks like there's going to be a foul called against the Saints. Vessel over to Clark. Clark back to Vessel. Now on the far side of the field where El Shami was over there by Tuva Hodney. Kat Watry going to throw it in for North Georgia. Look in the direction of El Shami where it looks like it's going to bounce off of Hodney and be another North Georgia throw-in. Ball tossed in right along the sideline line. And that's going to be kicked out of bounds by Hodney. Ball bouncing near the box. That one's going to get kicked right out of bounds. We're 15 minutes into this matchup. It was at the 7-minute mark. Ariel Arnoff got the goal in for North Georgia to put them up 1-0. She was assisted by Alex Clark and Maysoon El Shami. Now Alex Clark back in the box for North Georgia. El Shami trying to make something happen. El Shami dancing off a defender. Shami is going to take the shot, and it's going to go over the far crossbar. Hopkins going to kick this one. Neve Warrender. Warrender kicking this one over to midfield. Lucy Bertrand. Fowler. Kicking that one over to Buracy. Hodney throwing this one in for the Saints. So far, as we mentioned, 15 minutes into this one, both teams getting almost an equal amount of opportunities inside the box. North Georgia able to capitalize on one of them, getting that early goal by Ariel Arnoff. North Georgia trying to make a charge downfield. This one's going to go back over to Ariel Arnoff. Arnoff got a couple of Saints defenders. Arnoff going to try and pass that one to Durkay, but a couple of Saints players got in the way of that one. North Georgia back into possession. Ariel Arnoff shot in! Goal number 2 by Ariel Arnoff puts North Georgia up 2-0 over Limestone. It looks like they're going to take the goal off the board, and Ariel Arnoff called offside, so score stays. So the score stays 1-0 North Georgia. Officials whistle called. They're going to reset the clock to 26:20, because that was not a goal by North Georgia. Now North Georgia trying to move the ball back down the field. North Georgia throw-in. Immediately met by Freya Jones. Ball kicked high into the air, where now it's going to land on the feet of Adley Wheeler. Wheeler over to Durkay. Durkay trying to get it over to Clark, but Clark was covered up by Tuva Hodney. Gomez kicking that one in bounds. Now nobody there for a crosser. And Hopkins throwing this one back over to Lucy Bertrand. Bertrand kicking this one over to Torres. Torres over to Mills. Bertrand trying to get this one inside the box for Limestone. Malbetti was over there, and where Alexa Arnoff was coming in hot towards Freya Jones. Freya Jones just slides this one. Now back into the feet of Bertrand. It's going to be a shot towards the goal, but Sierra Fowler right there to catch it. Score remains 1-0, North Georgia. Whistles are going to be called. Clock still rolling. Ball thrown back in. Ball bouncing inside the box, but met by Baresi. North Georgia trying to make a charge downfield, but there's going to be a counterattack by Limestone. North Georgia with the takeaway. Ariel Arnoff with the counterattack downfield for North Georgia. Ariel bouncing off a defender. Ariel doing it again. Shot. And it's going to be a foul called on North Georgia. Now, these two teams have met 6 times in the past, while today's matchup might not be for anything significant on the line. In their third matchup ever back in 2015, it was on November 13th, 2015. It was Game 1 of the NCAA Division II Women's Tournament. At the time, North Georgia came in ranked number 16, and they defeated Limestone in the first round of the Division II tournament. North Georgia won 4-0 over Limestone. And you had 4 different goals. You had Jessica Allen scoring in the 4th minute, Molly Arundale in the 7th minute. And then Jade Pennock in the 48th minute. In the 64th minute, you also had Jade Pennock getting 2 goals in the second half. MVP of that game, Jade Pennock, and the 2 second-half goals and an assist in the first half for North Georgia. Durkay kicked that one. Wheeler. North Georgia in that game would go on after beating Limestone, would go on to play the then ranked number 6 Columbus State University, in which North Georgia fell to them, but North Georgia's next opponent in 2023 after Limestone is also Columbus State. Bryant Properties, a commercial real estate brokerage firm that specializes in commercial real estate along the Georgia 400 corridor, is a proud partner of North Georgia Athletics. Ariel Arnoff inside the box once again for North Georgia, dancing off a defender, trying to get that one near in towards the goal. Maysoon El-Shami back over to Arnoff. Arnoff getting tripped up inside the box. Looked like it was Faya Jones that tripped up Arnoff. Sierra Fowler going to kick this one deep back over into St. territory. Immediately kicked out by Samantha Novick. Ball going to roll right out of bounds. Darby Olive on the chase. Pass over in the direction of Ariel Arnoff. Ball's going to eventually land up in the feet of Samantha Aguilar-Hopkins. Shami over to Wheeler. Clark over to the far side of the field to Garth. Now over towards deep inside the box, but Hopkins coming up with that one. Stands are packed here in Dahlonega at the UNG soccer field on what is a beautiful evening here in Dahlonega. Currently partly cloudy, 72 degrees, and the fall colors are starting to come out on the trees on the North Georgia mountains and here at Lynn Control Park as well. Adele Thornburg on the far side of the field. Goal kick. That one over in the direction of Freya Jones, but immediately gets broken up by a couple of Nighthawks. Now back over to Thornburg. Thornburg. Pass that one over to Ellie Mills. Mills had a high kick. The ball sailed out of bounds. Vessel. Kicking this one over to the direction of Dirk Kay. Now kicked deep by Kate Garth. So going inside the box. And foul called on Limestone. Ball on the far side of the field. North Georgia trying to make deep attack into Saints territory where the ball is going to roll out of bounds. North Georgia is starting to get a student section going here at the university, the now dubbed Blue Crew. Mix of student athletes at North Georgia and regular students and Corps cadets all mixed in, making up the new student section here at North Georgia. Expect to see them at a lot of sporting events going forward. So they're starting to do a wave in the grandstands. So we got 12 minutes left to go in this first half. North Georgia up 1-0 over Limestone. Kate Garth making a deep run into St. territory. Garth bounces this one inside the box, and it's going to sail out of bounds. Trying to get a possible connection with Adley Wheeler, or might have been Katie Durkay inside the box. Stina Roswell trying to get that one inside the box. Ariel Arnoff at midfield, battling it out with Freya Jones. Jones goes down. Whistles have been called. Jones slow to get up. See what the official's call is. Now North Georgia. It's kicked over into the direction of Buracy. Fowler going to kick this one deep and lands out of bounds. Ten minutes left to go in this first half. Maysoon El Shami. Now over to Kate Garth. Now back over to El Shami. Shami over to Clark. Where this one's going to roll out of bounds. We're waiting substitutions coming in for both teams. Looks like Emily Bozard is stepping back on for Limestone. And then for North Georgia, looks like Natalie McGuire coming on. Ball landing out of bounds. Vessel over to Wheeler. over to Baracey. Wheeler. Over to Darby Olive. An attempted shot by Freya Jones. Gets caught by Sierra Fowler. Vessel to El Shami. Shami kicking this one on the far side to Baracey. Baracey back over to Fowler. Adley Wheeler back over to Baracey. Ed Wheeler to El Shami. Now over to Alex Clark at midfield. Alex Clark passing this one to Ariel Arnoff. Bouncing off a couple defenders. Ariel Arnoff shot, and it's going to get blocked. North Georgia trying to get this one back in there. Shot, and it is just over the top crossbar. North Georgia having two opportunities there. Ariel Arnoff. Shot got blocked by Hopkins. That'll go for another save for Hopkins as she ranks currently 5th in the SAC conference in saves on the season. This one over to midfield. Kate Garth in the area for North Georgia. Garth going to be the Nighthawk throwing this one in. Garth over to Clark. Ball almost went out of bounds. Garth trying to regain control of this one. It's a scuffle on the near side of the field between Clark and Alicia Simmons. Vessel to Baracey. Whistle's called and a foul against the Saints. Garth over to Ariel Arnoff. Arnoff passing it to the far side of the field to Watry. Watry sliding out of bounds. And it looks like it's going to be a foul on North Georgia. Three and a half minutes left to go in this first half. Vessel getting her head in there, and eventually lands back up in the feet of the Saints. Adley Wheeler trying to make a counterattack for North Georgia. Looks like McGuire on the far side of the field for North Georgia. Try to get that one in for a crosser, and nobody there. Might have been a little overshot, and it looks like Alex Clark and Ariel Arnoff were in the general vicinity, but the ball placed a little too high. 2 minutes left to go in this first half. North Georgia up 1-0 over Limestone. Can you mute me on? Ariel Arnoff setting that one up towards Alex Clark. A couple of Saint defenders were there. Kicked over to midfield. Maysoon El Shami. One minute remaining in the half. Just 1 minute remaining in the half. North Georgia trying to go up 2-0 over Limestone. Ariel Arnoff. Shoot that one, and it's going to go behind the net. Nighthawk goes down at midfield as we got 20 seconds left remaining in the first half. Limestone going to kick this one deep. It's going to be immediately met by a couple of North Georgia players. We've reached halftime here at Lynn Cottrell Park. North Georgia up 1-0 over Limestone with an early goal by Ariel Arnoff. We're going to take you to halftime with your commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll break down the first half and preview the Peach Belt Conference matchup that we got going on this Sunday here in Dahlonega. Time for your halftime break.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here. That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatments save more hearts than anywhere in Georgia.
My baby girl is home.
Georgia Heart Institute.
Since 2007, we've seen an explosion in popularity of superhero movies in the last decade. Rayner argues that superhero films offer an escape from the boredom many of us feel with our lives. We love the epic. We want epic lives. There's a tension you're going to face as you celebrate, walk out of this door, and you go to Monday and you say, what's next? And more importantly, how do I live a superhero life? John Gordon, he's a best-selling author on leadership. This is what he says. There's a myth about success, graduates. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. One that says it's all about you. But here's the truth. You're not a real success unless you're helping others be successful. That's the greatest self-growth strategy of all time. The more you help others grow and improve, you grow and improve. Focus on others. It's not about you. And you'll find something even greater than success. Graduates, you'll find significance. But remember, in all of this, there's a tension. How do I live a superhero life? Enter the epic by being bold. Your family, your community, our state, and our nation are all counting on you. Graduates, today we celebrate you. We celebrate your hard work. We celebrate your diligence. We celebrate your commitment. And I am so incredibly proud of you.
can't really get an idea of how another country runs their military till you go abroad.
It was cool to see their outlook on just life in general. To be there as a global ambassador is definitely a life-changing experience.
I participated in the Management College National Defense University Cadet Exchange. That is located in Taipei, Taiwan.
So I participated in study abroad internship in country of Georgia. The program I participated in was the Swiss Summer Mountaineering course. The experience was extremely professional. There were people from different militaries across the world. I was training with soldiers that were once our adversaries. It's fun to notice the importance of diplomatic relations and also civil affairs through the military.
The host school was always really going out of their way to help us get the full cultural experience because we were, in their eyes, only going to be there for 5 months.
They drove us out and we hiked to a glacier. That was unique, especially coming from Tennessee. There's no ice walls to climb. Their native language of Georgian was very difficult. However, at the end, I gave a little speech in Georgian, thanking their academy. It was an eye-opening experience. One thing I learned in Switzerland was to try and enjoy everything that you're doing, no matter how challenging it is.
Being able to see the country of your target language in person and really living day to day can move your passion to continue learning the language that much further.
All the conferences, all the internship, and all the exchange programs will help you as you develop, not just as a soldier, but also as a person. I think everybody in the course should study abroad because it will develop them so much.
If you have a free semester, it's the perfect time to explore a country. There's really not much holding you back in terms of whether or not you should go. It's a great experience.
I got extremely valuable training and just an overall incredible life experience that I wouldn't have gotten going to any other school. And it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
My wife's family is full of medical professionals, including lots of nurses. The more they talk to me about nursing, the more I realize there are so many different opportunities within the field of nursing. You can constantly continue growing, continue learning, which was something that really drew me to it. I was really attracted to the accelerated program at UNG for a couple reasons. One, I heard that UNG, like everything I've heard about UNG's nursing program is incredible. I have a couple friends who have been through it in recent years and just spoke very highly of it. Just everything I've seen online, spoken about it, it's just a very reputable program. So UNG was already a pretty clear choice for me. And then seeing the opportunity to do an accelerated program, it was kind of a no-brainer. Honestly, I get to graduate earlier, and one of the things that appealed to me the most, actually, was that most of our clinical rotations are at Northeast Georgia Medical Center. I am really thankful for the faculty that are specifically dedicated to the ABSN program here. This faculty, they really want to see us succeed in this program and be the best nurses we can possibly be.
From the moment you know where you are headed, it starts a journey that you will never forget. For those who seek a higher calling, to serve something bigger than themselves and take the path less traveled, UNG awaits to prepare you for your leadership pathway. Once you're here, you will be challenged and developed, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Freshman Recruit Orientation Group, or Frog Week, is the first step of the UNG journey. The commitment, the attitude, the effort, and the resilience take shape as you move forward on a pathway that most will never attempt.
Y'all got 2 minutes to change into OCPs. Time now. Let's go. Move it. Move it.
It is a process that teaches you about yourself and makes you better than you were yesterday. At times, it can be a struggle, but it's also an investment in yourself. Like life, it can create moments of doubt. You learn about yourself and your strengths and weaknesses. You shared this journey with the men and women to your left and right, establishing lifelong bonds with the understanding that nothing worth having ever comes easy. But through adversity, you build strength, determination, and the desire to never quit. Frog Week will establish a foundation to build upon, strengthen you physically and mentally, and start shaping you into the leader you came here to be. For cadets at the University of North Georgia, they take the road less traveled, avoid taking the easy way out, and develop instrumental values that will prepare them for a life of service and leadership. Some people talk about it, others are about it.
We welcome you back to the UNG soccer field here at Lynn Cottrell Park, where North Georgia leads 1-0 over Limestone University, where Ariel Arnoff got the first goal for North Georgia at the 7.5-minute mark. Arnoff was assisted by Alex Clark and Maysoon El-Shami. With Ariel getting, this would be her 6th goal of the season, moves her to the top of the leaderboard for North Georgia in goals this season with 6. And going into this game, you had 3 Nighthawks tied at 5 goals apiece. It was Ariel Arnoff, Maysoon El-Shami, and Katie Durkay with 5 goals. Now Ariel moving into the clear number 1 spot. That was El-Shami's 5th assist. That'll tie her with Megan O'Brien. As North Georgia leads 1-0 over Limestone. Limestone also had a couple of opportunities on the North Georgia side of the field as well, but not as many. If we take a look at the stats going down, North Georgia up 1-0. 2 assists by North Georgia. That first goal was a double assist with the help of Alex Clark and Maysoon El-Shami. Both of them have gotten 1 shot and 1 shot on goal. There has been a corner, red, or yellow card issued. But North Georgia has been called offsides 3 separate times today. North Georgia also has gotten a save, all in part of Sierra Fowler. North Georgia's got some work up to coming up for them, as today is a non-conference matchup. This is the first time that North Georgia's played Limestone in about 1,511 days. So September of 2019, and that was actually their home opener that day, where a couple of Nighthawks got goals on Limestone as they took the win 4-1 over them in their home opener in the 2019 season. But as we take a look at North Georgia's next opponent, it's going to be Columbus State University. And if you're looking at the standings right now in women's soccer, North Georgia and Columbus State are currently tied at the top of the leaderboard. Columbus State currently holds the number 1 position at 7-0-1 in the Peach Belt, tied with North Georgia at 7-0-1. North Georgia, if the Peach Belt Conference regular season ended today, Columbus State would be ahead of North Georgia. But North Georgia, Columbus State in the final Peach Belt Conference game of the regular season this Sunday at 4 p.m. right here in Dahlonega. They'll be facing off against each other in what will be for the number 1 seed. Now, North Georgia does have a little bit of an uphill climb when it comes to Columbus State. When you look at their history, North Georgia only having 5 wins in their matchup history against Columbus State, with their last win coming on March 18th in 2021, and that was over 950 days ago. So North Georgia looking to erase some past bad experiences against Columbus State and what will be for the number 1 seed in the Peach Belt, and which is something you want to host. So the Peach Belt runs through you. North Georgia kind of in a similar situation earlier in the year when they were in softball, lost a couple of regular season games to Columbus State, was actually the 2 seed and had to travel out to Columbus State for the Peach Belt Conference Tournament, where they ended up ultimately victorious, and then they actually had to face them again in the postseason. So don't be surprised if North Georgia were to, say, have a similar run that softball did against Columbus State, where they either A, lose the regular season matchup or win it, and then they're probably going to have to face off against them, whether it's going to be here in Dahlonega or in Columbus State, where they're going to have to face off in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament. In North Georgia, actually, the softball team had to face them again in the NCAA Division II tournament. And as mentioned earlier, one of the few matchups that North Georgia has played against Limestone came in 2015, where North Georgia beat them 4-0 over Limestone, which the game was held in Columbus State. Columbus State at the time ranked number 6 nationally. North Georgia had to go to Columbus State the very next game, where they ended up falling out of the tournament. North Georgia trying to erase some bad history on Sunday, but there's a lot of pent-up energy here at North Georgia. As mentioned earlier in that first half, the formation of the Blue Crew at the University of North Georgia. It's a mix of student athletes, students, Corps cadets, pretty much everybody here at the University of North Georgia to make a very interesting and new game day atmosphere as the student section gets pent up right ahead of basketball season. But already here at Lynn Cottrell Park today, we have a massive amount of fans here in attendance for North Georgia and Limestone. This is the formation of the Blue Crew. Expect to see them later in the year, especially when basketball begins, but they're already starting with soccer, and they have been loud and their voices have been heard today. And when it comes to attendance, when you look on the away side, Limestone, a lot of their games not in front of massive crowds. In fact, their opening game at home against Flagler was attended by 27 people. When you look at the attendance opponents for Limestone, they've had about 773 people in crowd in total for the season, where North Georgia at home has had 2,200 people on the season. And numbers keep going up for North Georgia as we're getting set to kick this second half underway for North Georgia. And we are underway. North Georgia up 1-0 over Limestone University. Teams will flip sides of the field. North Georgia will be shooting on the right and defending on the left side of the field. Maysoon El-Shami on the far side of the field getting a takeaway from Limestone. The kick's got to go inside the box where Hopkins is going to pick it up. Pass back over to Vessel. Now over to Watry. Watry from the near side, passing it towards the far side, back to Vessel. Kat Watry down there for North Georgia, battling it out with Tuva Hodney. Vessel coming into a slide will be called for a foul. River City Bank is a proud partner of North Georgia Athletics. Their personal banking products were designed with your unique needs in mind and proudly serve the Rome, Blairsville, and Dawsonville communities. Check out River City Bank in your town. Elise Burr-AC passing this back over to Watry. Now going up the midfield part. Now into the feet of El Shami. Over to Wheeler. Sierra Fowler kicking this one over to Bailey Vessel. As mentioned previously, this is North Georgia's first matchup, women's soccer team matchup against Limestone in 1,511 days. Wheeler kicking that one inside the box. Ariel Arnoff trying to make something happen, where now it's going to be met on the far side by Nikki Gomez. Now over to Kate Garth. Ball going to roll right on the out-of-bounds line. It's going to stay in play to where Bailey Vessel was over there. And now Limestone trying to make a counterattack. Alex Clark. Now Limestone on a counterattack. Limestone kicking this one. Over in the direction of Ellie Mills. Mills trying to pass this one to Hodney. Hodney over towards the far side of the field where St. Clair is nowhere near where the ball landed. Kate Garth going to throw it in for North Georgia. And over to Vessel. As mentioned, this is the first time these two teams have met in 1,500 days. And there's actually still a handful of players from that 2019 season that are on this field today and right now that played in that last game against Limestone back in September of 2019. So those players include Maysoon El Shami, Katie Durkay, and Bailey Vessel, all playing in this game, also playing against the last time they played this team, which was 4 years ago. And some of their UNG soccer players have gone on to work for the University of North Georgia, including former soccer star Abby Crane. Abby Crane in 2018, it was her freshman year with North Georgia, got her very first goal on September 12, 2018. North Georgia on the road for only the second time in program history when playing Limestone in a regular season matchup, Limestone in Gaffney, South Carolina. And in that game, Abby Crane got her very first goal as a Nighthawk, in which she went on to have a great career with North Georgia. North Georgia trying to make something happen inside the box, but it's going to be picked up by Hopkins. And when you take a look deeper at Crane's stats, 2 of her first 3 goals as a Nighthawk came against Limestone. It was at the 27th minute and 55-second mark of the 2018 game that Crane got her very first goal for North Georgia. Now back over into the feet of North Georgia. Ariel Arnoff inside the box, going to try to set up a crosser for North, and it's going to go over the head of looks like it was Megan O'Brien. Megan O'Brien currently tied in assists this season. With Maysoon El-Shami. Shami getting that assist early in the game for North Georgia to put them up 1-0 over Limestone. And speaking of soccer players going on to work for the university, in the 2019 matchup, North Georgia whistle called and foul called on North Georgia. So Limestone trying to put their first goal up on the board of the day. Kicked high and towards the area of Hodney. Hodney kicking this one inside the box, and that one is going to be a save by Sierra Fowler. Olivia Dunphy, a former UNG soccer player, was a factor in the last matchup against Limestone, picking up 2 assists in a 4-1 win over Limestone back in 2019, getting an assist for the second goal of the game in the 42nd minute, and getting an assist for Taylor Malashik in the 85th minute of that one. To be throw-in for Limestone. Where a couple of Nighthawks were there inside the box, and North Georgia attempting to make a counterattack foul called on Limestone. Burr AC to Watry. Watry past midfield, kicking this one over to Ariel Arnoff. Arnoff kicks this one, and it's going to bounce off the far crossbar. And it was just a matter of inches if the ball hit, if you're talking the far crossbar, if it just was just to the right a little bit, would have bounced in as the goalie was nowhere to be seen, but ball just placed a little too far left and didn't get to go back in. So still 1-0 over Limestone with 35 minutes left to go in the second half. There's going to be whistles called. Alex Clark, midfield, battling around a couple of Saints defenders. Foul called on Limestone. It was Lucy Bertrand and Servain Bluen. Limestone making a counterattack. A little bit of a push off from Ane Malbetty. Malbetty passing this one over to Bluen. Bluen over to the far side to Roswell. And North Georgia and Maysoon El-Shami picking it right back up for the Nighthawks. Adley Wheeler at midfield for North Georgia. Headed in the air by a couple of Saints and Nighthawk players. Now back over to Vessel, and Vessel pass this one to Fowler and go back to Vessel. Vessel over at midfield, passes this one to El Shami. Now on the far side of the field, Nikki Gomez. Kick deep over in the direction of El Shami. Ball right on that out of bounds line, stays in bounds. Now over to where the ball is going to roll right out of bounds. It's going to be a throw in for Limestone. Hodney. Now Alex Clark in the vicinity, but Hodney comes out victorious on that battle. Bozard getting this one over to Hopkins. Ariel Arnoff trying to get that one in, but Hopkins comes right in there for the Saints to block an attempted goal from North Georgia. Now North Georgia back on a counterattack. El Shami, pass gets intercepted by Limestone. Now Vessel. Some contact right over there at midfield. Looked like Freya Jones that went down, but she got right back up. Tuva Hodney on the near side. Hodney now over to Servain Bluin, and now North Georgia on a counterattack. Alex Clark. Clark going to pass this one to O'Brien. O'Brien hits looks like it hits the back of a Limestone defender. Looked like it hit the back of Emily Bozard. Now Hodney. Pass broken up by Buracy. Limestone in control still, but now will land up in the feet of Sierra Fowler. Buracy to Watry. To El Shami. El Shami with the nice pass up in the air, but now Limestone on a counterattack. That one's going to be a nice header by Buracy for North Georgia to set up a counterattack. El Shami to the far side of the field to Ariel Arnoff. Arnoff charging downfield. Megan O'Brien there. She's going to shoot this one, but it's going to go way over the goal. Now back into the feet of Hodney. Hodney now over to Bluin. to Roswell. Bailey Vessel and Emily Torres make contact on the far side of the field. Limestone throw-in on the far side. Caitlin Holmes now getting that one over to Servain Bluen. North Georgia on a counterattack. Megan O'Brien at midfield. O'Brien trying to dance off Hodney. Does. Gets that one off to Nikki Gomez. Gomez in the corner for North Georgia. She's going to kick that one, but it's going to bounce off right off of Bluen. It's going to be a North Georgia corner, it looks like. Corner kick for North Georgia. El Shami trying to get that one. Looked like to Ariel Arnoff, but Hopkins comes right up with the ball. Score stays at 1-0. Kat Watry. Over to Megan O'Brien at midfield. Ball going to roll out of bounds. And Watry's going to throw this one in for the Nighthawks. Watry over to O'Brien. Watry now over to Alex Clark. And it's going to be met by a Saint defender. Freya Jones kicking this one back to the goalkeeper, Hopkins. Where it's going to be intercepted by Ariel Arnoff. Ariel Arnoff making a deep charge into the box. And Hopkins almost let that ball go. And what could have been a big opportunity for North Georgia to put the comforting goal up on the board and make it 2-0. But we remain 1-0 with 25 minutes left to go in the game. Megan O'Brien there. Maysoon El Shami. Hopkins kicking this one deep. Ball lands out of bounds. We've seen from this second half so far, North Georgia been more in control of possession of the ball than Limestone was in the first half, where you could really say it was almost an even, maybe more leaning towards North Georgia first half. Where North Georgia in the second half has really started to take over in terms of possession of the ball, where most of the ball in the second half has been on the Saints side of the field. Kat Watry passing that one over to Clark. Clark over to El Shami. Kat Watry. Shot is in. Watry gets North Georgia's second goal of the night as North Georgia puts the comforter up on the board as North Georgia extends their lead 2-0 over Limestone with 23 minutes left to go in the second half. Kat Watry North Georgia now extending their lead 2-0, all thanks to a goal by Kat Watry. That'll be her second goal of the season as a Nighthawk. And when you look at the matchup history between Limestone and North Georgia, this is past couple of times now North Georgia has put up multiple goals against Limestone, including the postseason and the last two matchups against Limestone. And this is the first time Limestone has allowed a goal since they played, and allowed multiple goals since they played the number 2 team in the nation, Catawba, where they lost 4-0 in that one. North Georgia had to hit the road to play Catawba. They played them in Catawba, where they lost 2-1 in a very closely contested game where North Georgia had the lead early on. And Catawba able to pull off a few second half goals and beat North Georgia in that contest. The ball is going to get kicked out of bounds. Kat Watry jumping over a Saint defender is going to pass this one to over Megan O'Brien. O'Brien trying to get this one inside the box. He's going to kick this one over in the direction of Kat Watry, but Hopkins was there to pick up the ball and now lands back into the feet of Hodney. Now Limestone on a counterattack. Alicia Simmons, deep downfield for them, passes this one back to Hodney. Hodney now over to what was supposed to be Lucy Bertrand, but now was over in the direction of Maysoon El-Shami, but Limestone back in possession. Adley Wheeler at midfield collided with a Saint player. Wheeler gets back up. Darby Olive. And now over to Nikki Gomez. Gomez going to try and kick this one in, but gets defended by a couple of Saints players. We've under 20 minutes to go in this matchup. Ariel Arnoff got the first goal for North Georgia to put them up 1-0 at the 7.5-minute mark of the game. There was an assist by Alex Clark and Maysoon El-Shami in that one. And then North Georgia put the comforter goal up on the board to put them up 2-0, all in thanks to Kat Watry. Ariel Arnoff goes clearly in the lead for goals for North Georgia on the women's soccer team with 6 goals this season, as Kat Watry gets her second goal of the season. Jitterbug Party Rentals, a trusted partner for all your inflatable and event rental needs, is a proud sponsor of North Georgia Athletics. Their mission is to provide an easy, safe, clean, and professional rental experience to the North Georgia area. Megan O'Brien going to shoot that one towards the goal, but Hopkins comes up with that one. Yet again, another save, and that's a key player to watch out for when you play Limestone, Samantha Aguilar-Hopkins. And that's one thing, anytime you're facing off against Limestone, is to watch out for their goalkeepers. Now, they have subbed the starting goalkeeper out, which was Samantha Aguilar-Hopkins, for Rosemary Elliott. Hopkins, as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, is 5th in saves in the SAC conference with 51 on the season. And North Georgia's played teams that have had a lot of saves on the season. Most notably and recently, North Georgia played against Albany State a few weeks ago here at the UNG soccer field in Dahlonega, and they were way out front in the Peach Belt for saves on the season by almost 50 or 60 at the time, where they had over 150 saves. North Georgia beat them soundly 10-1 in their Peach Belt Conference matchup against Albany State just 2 weeks ago. North Georgia making a couple of substitutions, and Limestone as well. We'll get those to you in just a second. Let's get 16 minutes left in this matchup. Looks like Kate Garth on the far side of the field throwing this one in for North Georgia. Foul called against North Georgia. And Limestone making a substitution on the field. So it looks like Samantha Novick coming back into the game, a starter for Limestone today. Now North Georgia trying to make a counterattack. Now over to Alexa Arnoff, and now Adley Wheeler. Far side of the field to Nikki Gomez. Or excuse me, that was Alex Clark on the far side of the field. Now over to Kate Garth. Shot, and it's going to be just over the goalpost. And tipped up in the air by Rosemary Elliott. We're just talking about it on the broadcast. Got to watch out for the goalkeepers for Limestone. Alexa Arnoff. Now back over in the possession of Hodney. Hodney trying to make something of this counterattack for Limestone. Now over to Adele Thorberg. Dufresne now over to Novick. That one's going to get kicked way high, and it's going to go over the fence up towards near the parking lot. Rains Grading and Hauling, a commercial and residential grading and hauling company located in Dahlonega, is a proud sponsor of North Georgia Athletics. Adley Wheeler over in the direction. Now Emma Dufresne trying to make something happen for Limestone. Dufresne going to get pushed to the ground, but North Georgia and Alexa Arnoff coming up with the possession for North Georgia. This one now going over to Megan O'Brien. O'Brien trying to make something happen, trying to battle it out with Hodney. Now Limestone on a counterattack. Lucy Bertrand Now Adele Thorberg. Thorberg passing it to the far side of the field. Nobody in sight for that one. Rolls out of bounds. It's going to be a throw in for North Georgia. And we mentioned about star players on the other side. The goalkeeping is definitely for a Limestone team under currently not on a winning record of the highlight of their team, but another highlight of their team too is Tuva Hodney going up and down the field all night for the Saints and coming up with a lot of key takeaways for the Saints tonight. Misoun El-Shami. That ball taken, almost taken away. El-Shami going to shoot this one up in the air, but that one was off the hand of Rosemary Elliott. Goalkeeping being key for Limestone tonight. Adley Wheeler. Setting up for a goal kick for North Georgia. Kick up on the way. It's going to be net at inside the box, but looks like Adele Thorberg went down on the play. Thorberg still down. Clock stops with 11:02 left to go in the second half. Thorberg still down. North Georgia up 2-0. It was Bailey Vessel that was the one that headed it for North Georgia. And we're going to take you to commercial.
Considering a career change? Ready to lead in healthcare? Be a nurse in 15 months with our accelerated Bachelor's of Nursing track. Learn more at ung.edu/ABSN.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care. We're leading Georgia there.
Thorberg was able to get up on her own power, and Michaela Bratz comes back into the game for Limestone, replacing the injured Thorberg, as we now have under 11 minutes left to go in this matchup between North Georgia and Limestone. North Georgia making a couple of substitutions in this one. Looks like Kat Watry is going to go out of the game. Megan O'Brien as well. Where Michael Fruit steps on for North Georgia. And there's going to be a yellow card issued. Looked like it could have been possibly on the North Georgia sideline. Clock's going to stop. Not sure what happened there. Maybe a substitution in the middle of play, but whistles were called. A yellow card was pointing in the direction of the North Georgia sideline. We'll get official confirmation on that one. Elise Buracy in the backfield for North Georgia. Going to pass this one over to Sierra Fowler. Vessel over to the midfield area now. Over to Kate Garth. Garth going to be the one throwing it in for North Georgia. Now Limestone on a counterattack. Hodney, we mentioned her name earlier, back there for Limestone. This ball up in the air and is going to land in the chest of Alicia Simmons. And North Georgia now making a counterattack. Lee Wheeler over to Baracy. Now to Vessel. Vessel over to Garth on the far side of the field, where that ball gets intercepted by Michaela Bratz. El Shami at midfield. Now over to McGuire. El Shami now inside, almost inside the box. El Shami now over to Alexa Aronoff. And it looks like it's going to be a foul on. It's going to be a corner kick for North Georgia. Looks like Michael Fruits will be the Nighthawk kick in this one. Fruits kick, headed up in the air, but it was actually tapped by Elliott, goalkeeper for Limestone. Limestone keep getting the hands in there on a lot of these corner kicks and goal kicks for North Georgia. And now Limestone's going to make a big substitution on the field. So you got 6 players coming in for Limestone with 6:55 left to go in this matchup. North Georgia up 2-0. North Georgia yet to ever lose to Limestone, 5-0-1 all time against them. And their lone draw coming in their very first matchup back in 2007. That one tried to get over for a crosser for North Georgia, but now Limestone on a counterattack. Vessel and Fowler down there for North Georgia to stop it. Now to Alexa Aronoff. Now back over to Baracy. Back over to Vessel. Baracy. Baracy trying to kick that one deep, but was hit up in the air by Scarlett Leva. We have under 5 minutes left to go in this matchup. North Georgia currently holds 5 consecutive wins over Limestone. North Georgia goes on to win this one. It'll be the 6th consecutive win in a row, and not all of them were regular season. The 2015 matchup between these two teams was in the first round of the Southeast Regional. North Georgia beat them 4-0 to advance. to Columbus State in that game. Crosser all trying to go into the inside of the box. Wheeler going to kick this one high. And kicked out of bounds by a Saints player. Late game substitutions coming in for North Georgia. Elise Buracy coming off the pitch for North Georgia. It looks like Maysoon El Shami is going to step off as well. Coming on for North Georgia, Michelle LaPenta. It looks like Angie Garcia also coming in for North Georgia. And Limestone also made a substitution. Limestone trying to make a deep attack into North Georgia territory, but gets outgassed by North Georgia. There's going to be a stoppage of time with 3:38. Another North Georgia substitution. Now back over to Sierra Fowler. Over to LaPenta. LaPenta passing this one to Alexa Arnoff. Alexa Arnoff's pass gets kicked out of bounds by Alicia Simmons. Alexa Arnoff charging downfield, going to pass this one over to Angie Garcia. Garcia, the ball's going to roll right out of bounds with 2:30 left to go in the game. North Georgia up 2-0. Thrown back in. Liv Sullins. Now over to Angie Garcia. Nighthawk goes down on the play. McGuire. 1:33 left to go in this contest, in this seventh time these two teams have faced against each other. Going to be a goal kick. What looks like Michael Fruits. Fruits passed this one on the far side of the field. And Elliott comes up with this one. Under a minute left to go in this one. North Georgia up 2-0 over Limestone. Foul called against Limestone. Limestone still's got a couple of more opponents to go in this season. They've got 2 more opponents to go. Looks like a Nighthawk down on the field. Time is going to stop with 23.1 seconds. Can't quite, not sure to see who the Nighthawk is down on the field. Athletic trainers running out there. and we'll step away.
Considering a career change? Ready to lead in healthcare? Be a nurse in 15 months with our accelerated Bachelor's of Nursing track. Learn more at ung.edu/ABSN.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care, we're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
Natalie McGuire, the Nighthawk, down on the field, able to get up on her own power. 15 seconds left to go in this one. North Georgia going to improve their record. North Georgia picking up the victory over Limestone, their 6th consecutive win over Limestone. First time they've played since the 2019 season as North Georgia wins 2-0 over Limestone University. North Georgia has one more game to go in this regular season game, and it will all come down to this. Peach Belt seeding is on the line for this next game, as they will be taking on Columbus State University right here in Dahlonega at the UNG soccer field at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will be for the 1 seed in the Peach Belt Conference tournament. As the tournament will be coming up in about a week, less than 2 weeks from now. This is the last Peach Belt Conference game of this regular season. 1 seed on the line between North Georgia and Columbus State. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Nighthawk Sports Network against Columbus State University. The 1 seed on the line at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. For Devin Kupka and the Nighthawk Sports Network crew saying so long from Dahlonega tonight. Remember, catch that Columbus State game, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the Nighthawk Sports Network for the 1 seed of the Peach Belt Conference will be determined there. Your final score, once again, North Georgia wins over Limestone University 2-0. Have a great night, everybody.